Hello, I'm Janelle Shala, and in this video I'm going to be discussing Tanzanite. Tanzanite's a rare form of zoisite, which is a hydrous calcium aluminium silicate. Zoisite comes in a wide color range, but Tanzanite is only the blue to violet end of that color range, and it's also incredibly rare. It only comes from Tanzania, only Tanzania, hence the name. And most people hadn't heard of it until the advent of the jewelry channel, and all of a sudden people are seeing this lovely faceted gemmy crystal in jewelry. And so I've found that loads of people know it now just from that. It normally forms massively, which is to say it doesn't have large defined crystals that you can see with the naked eye. But when it does form crystals, they are exquisite, and I'm going to be showing you a few of those in a moment. The first piece I'm going to show you, however, is massive, and this is fairly typical. This one's a rather pale one, but you do get the idea of the depth of that lovely sort of bluey purpley color it gets. And if you're desperate to get hold of Tanzanite and this isn't, it's like you find it too expensive, this is probably, you can probably afford something at this end of the spectrum. And it still does what it says on the tin. It's a lovely crystal, and I adore it. I'm wearing it at the moment. This little necklace is Tanzanite, and I also have it in my ring. I find it the most cheering crystal I've ever come across. Now, I don't mean like let's work on sort of deep, dark depression, because there are crystals that are much better for that. But it's very good if you're just having a bad day and you kind of want to just do something to lift you a little bit. It also aligns with 3 different chakras, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. And it will cleanse and open these chakras and then align them and anchor them in the heart. So you get this lovely connection with your upper heavenly chakras, with spirit. It may connect you better with your spirit guides as well on the communication level. And really, really special. I'm going to show you another one. Now this one has actually formed a crystal. It's not of the greatest quality, but it's still very pretty. And if you look at it, you can see it has a very distinctive chisel shape. This is typical of when you get Tanzanite crystals. When you have a crystal, the energy is very directional, and this can be quite useful in one area of physical crystal healing. Tanzanite works really well with healing connective tissue, so when you have damage to the tendons or ligaments, it can really stimulate the healing in this area. And I don't know if any of you have had damaged ligaments, but they take a very long time to heal. It's probably far more, that causes far more of the pain when you have a broken bone, the related tendon tears, than the actual healing of the bone. If you aim the crystal directly at the area, this can really stimulate the healing. You don't have to keep doing it over and over, just start it off that way, and it will stimulate the healing process, so it will be a little speedier than normal. It also helps to go into a deep state of meditation. And if you have something like this, sometimes you can get a hold of these really pretty little crystals in a group, so you buy them as a bunch. And you can sit in a stone circle with these and meditate, and it can take you other places. It can, it actually can take you to other dimensions, etc., whatever you want to do. It is a little ungrounding, so I do recommend that when you work with Tanzanite, you work with a grounding crystal as well. You don't have to work with them at the same time, but when you come back from your meditation, pick up a piece of, like a pyrite cube or a piece of hematite or something that will bring you back into your body. Just make sure you're really solidly here. Tanzanite also comes as a yellow crystal, which is normally, it's normally called yellow zoisite. Sorry, a little bit fumbly at the moment. This one is a really pretty crystal. This is a really lovely one, but it's got a tiny bit of Tanzanite at the tip. And very often, if these are being used in jewelry, they'll be heat treated, and that will bring all the color up to the blue state that Tanzanite's usually, that we usually think of Tanzanite. this has a different energy. When it has the yellow color, it brings the energy down to the solar plexus. So it still has this really lovely, cheerful vibrancy, but it's also, it brings you more into your body, into the physical body when you're working with it. And this leads into another way of working, but this is something that I'm going to suggest only do it if you're used to working with crystals and you're used to working on your personal development, because this can throw things up that maybe you don't want to look at just yet. I have here one of the most beautiful crystals. This is a large, they don't get much larger than this. This is a large Tanzanite crystal, very obvious wedge shape that I was talking about. And you can see that you've got the really deep violet Tanzanite at the base of the crystal, but it's gone into the yellow zoisite at the tip. And if this were going to be used in jewelry, they would have heat treated it, so it all looked the same. But in healing, we can use this in a very specific way. First of all, you've got the balance of heaven and earth, and you've got the balance of masculine and feminine, similar to ametrine. But in addition to that, it seems to really cleanse away any of the crap that you don't want. You know, if you want to get down to the deepest, darkest level so you see your absolute potential and start working with it, this can burn off everything else. It's a little bit like the, if you work with alchemy at all, it kind of represents nigredo in a way. It's the sulfur and mercury burning themselves off, so there's nothing left. You've got the ash in the bottom of the vessel. Sounds awful, but this gives you something to work with and build on. So if you're ready to go there, it's a lovely one to work with in that way. And it has another property, so you can work with it still without going quite into such a deep place. It reminds me of the wand suit in tarot, where there's this sort of the business thing of really going forward, moving ahead. It has that feeling about it, so you can use it to stimulate your business, your creativity, but that is specifically with the combination, the bicolored Tanzanite, where you get both the yellow and the purple, seems to do that more than even the yellow on its own. Now, Tanzanite, as I've said, it's expensive, it's hard to get hold of. It's not one of the ones I would call essential for your crystal collection, especially if you're working in healing. But it's so nice. It's just such a lovely, lovely energy. I can't praise it enough. So if you're able to get hold of it, I strongly recommend it.